So, welcome to the ICID Young Professionals e-Forum seminar, webinar on the using the system of rice intensification to increase the water productivity in the Nile Delta. This is a very important topic today because rice or the paddy happens to be one of the most water guzzling crops, and in the increasing era of water scarcity, it is very much important that we have all means available to us for reducing the water consumption. Apart from that, rice also happens to be the staple food and basic primary grain intake of a very large segment of populations all across the world. So the improvement in the food security by way of increasing the productivity of rice does happen to give a very important input for the future of the world. So from this angle, I feel that the system of rice intensification is a measure which has come not a day sooner. And for that, we have a very eminent speakers today in the webinar who have practiced this in Egypt, and they will be able to share their first-hand experiences from the field. And this will be helpful world over for providing the necessary guidance and inputs for improving and implementing the system of rice intensification in their parts of the world. So from that angle, the young professional e-forum will be very much benefited by way of this seminar. So initially, let me introduce the speakers. The first speaker is Dr. Arnulfo Gonzalez-Meza. He works in Egypt. He has obtained extensive academic qualifications from the Utah State University and Mexico. And he has a very wide experience in working as a team leader in several projects, having the extensive overseas experience in Africa, Middle East, South Asia, Caribbean, and the North, where a lot of developing countries are located. So his experience is very valuable because the developing societies will need to have the food security as a first measure of their stability. He also has a very extensive experience in the integrated water sources management areas, the horticulture crops, climate change, etc. And he has worked with the projects in the federal and local governments, FAO, and various other eminent institutions like Oxfam, SIDA, etc. across the world. So we are indeed fortunate to have a very learned speaker who is able to have we will be able to impart us the first-hand knowledge. We have the another speaker, Ms. Sabah Khalifa from Egypt. She is a social and community mobilization expert. In this sense, we have a very well-rounded seminar because Dr. Meza has a very extensive technical and scientific knowledge, and the social and community knowledge is being provided by Ms. Sabah Khalifa, who has got more than 20 years of hands-on experience in social and community development. She has conducted various social assessments and stakeholder analysis of rural communities. When we go through their presentations, we will realize that the community mobilization and the social interaction has generated a very extensive and a very valuable input to improvement and implementation of system of rice intensification. Because the system of rice intensification does involve a collaborative approach amongst the neighboring farmers, and unless these areas are addressed well, the system does not really grow root in the area, and it only remains at a demonstration purpose. But whereas in this case, it seems that it has actually indeed taken root, and people have gone with the SRI through the social and community mobilization efforts. So it will be indeed a very useful area to really look at that how a scientific approach is translated into a social movement and brought into the practice by the community, which then ultimately results into the desirable outputs. So we have both these eminent speakers, and now we can listen to the webinar by both these speakers. At the outset, I will invite Dr. Arnulfo-Meza to start the webinar and proceed ahead with the presentations. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks a lot for the presentation, Doctor. And I would like to anticipate our thanks on behalf of Sabah and my own for allowing us to share today some part of the result regarding the use of SRI. It's a system of rice intensification in the delta of the Nile River in Egypt. So, we're going to present results that happened during the summer season of the 2014, 15, and 16. These results were developed jointly with the Ministry of Water Resources and Irrigation of Egypt. The project where we used to work was called the Enhanced Water Resources Management Project, and it was a World Bank funded project that initiated in March of 2014. Part of the project was to establish some field pilots Excuse me, can you hear me? Yeah? Hello? And
Yeah.
Can you hear me, Doctor? Can you follow me? You can hear me?
No.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, now we can see.
Yes.
We can hear you.
Yes. Well, I think that now.
Please continue. Please
Okay.
continue.
Then I think that now you're following me. If we go to the statistics of rice production and look at the 10 high-level countries regarding the production of rice, we're going to see that Egypt is placed at the second place, just behind Australia. These statistics came from the FAO 2012-2014. And this is basically because of that. The rice is the most important crop as an ingredient of that daily food of Egyptians. And I want to puntualize that the delta is the main producer of the rice. And here in the delta, we have access to some, let's say, developed rice varieties compared to the Gizas in different varieties also, which it could be called the conventional. During this presentation, I want to when we refer to SAC, we're going to talk about the SRI system, what we called, I called GISA, we're going to talk about the conventional authorization system. And if you can take a look to that, to the last column of this table, you're going to see that, in fact, the varieties produced in a very acceptable way, and this is displayed at the ranking as the second place in the production. And 2014, a group at multi-interdisciplinary rice team, was organized to from the demonstration fields in the governorate of behavior. The objectives of these demonstrative fields were to introduce, to become familiar with the concept of SRI to farmers. To become familiar with the concept of SRI to farmers. Principles. We would like to demonstrate what are the effects of these and to apply this principles from agronomic point of view and also from the social economic perspective. As a final objective was to raise awareness of the farmers to the potential. We will discover together the potential of applying the system of rice. It's what are the principles that the SRI technology includes? It's very important to consider. That one of the main concepts is that the seedlings are transplanted at a young age. It's, let's say, in an average of around 10 days before the third leaf appears. And usually we were looking at not going to and longer than 2 weeks. Also, it's very important, to underline that the use of single seedlings per field is another of the principles that we will apply. Also, the distance among this field is another key concept. We were looking to go for the 25 and 25 distance between rows and fields. The watering system. Because it was also important because instead of looking for to irrigate when the water is available, we were looking to irrigate when accordingly to the weather needs and to the plant stage. And also to how much water through the storage into the soil. It's the rotary weeding, the control of weeds. That's another of the main principles applied. And the use of organic fertilizers. Since I started from the seedling preparation, is very important. It's I would like to underline that how can I go to this?
Here. Yeah. Here.
Yeah, I can
We have the elements.
I cannot see the.
Yeah. Close your camera. Yeah. From here. Yeah. Or minimize it.
Okay. 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 Yes. Stop sharing. I'm back. I'm back. So in this table, you see that we work in 2014 only in one of the villages called locally Necla, with around 68 farmers that cover 125 fedans. One fedan is equal to 0.4 more or less hectares. I mean, a little bit more than 4,000 square meters. And you're going to see by the 2015, the next year, we increased the number of locations to Comer Nazar and Comer Bank. And in 2016, I mean, we keep the same village working with. Compared to the first year, you're going to see that we expand to more, to more places. And the same happened during 2016 because of that, a promising result that we started to have with applying the SRI system. This is a general picture about how the recorded water level was placed at the beginning. So part of the result that no, I'm sorry. I jump I'm sorry. I need to go back because by mistake I jumped some slides. Okay, well, in fact, I was talking about that the growing season of 2014, 15, and 16. And then here you're going to see what we do. I mean, we compare the conventional system, I mean, which is this with the SRI in 2014, 15, and 16. And which are the main changes that we did? For example, the quantity of variety of rice varieties used by for a fedan is at 60 kilograms. And during the SRI plots, we try to decrease the amount of seed use. Also, the nitrogen, we detect that we were over fertilized with 200 and 2,050 kilograms of urea. We try to find the proper amount of fertilizers. During that nursery part, we applied organic matter, chicken manure mainly, or another manure available in the different areas. But the most important was to keep the principle of applying organic matter. Also, please take a look that the conventional fields, were not added the organic matter. So other of that difference that we try to apply is that in conventional systems, the use of pesticides has a very heavy use. Not regulated. In the case of the SRI plots, with the advice of the main agronomist, we try to apply pesticides only in case of infection. So our agronomists work trying to detect any pest and then come with that proper pesticide to control the pest, the problem. Also, the same happened with the fungicides. The fungicides, in conventional system is completely irregular. However, with the SRI plots, we try to control the applications. Other of the difference that we try to follow is the difference of that in days of making the transplantation. In the case of the conventional system, the farmer usually waits until 30 to an average of 1 month, 1 month and 5 days to make the transplantation. In our case, we start, we look to do it in 2 or 3 weeks. To put just 2 to 4. Our team members, try to align our farmers. Ms. Sabah is going to explain more about this in how we conducted the SRI during the 3 consecutive years. what was the support of the project? This is very important because in 2014 we started, supporting the farmers with the rights, the seeds, providing technical assistance, laser leveling to have a better efficient water application, the fertilizers, and the agrochemicals. In fact, we provide everything for that for the farmers, basically, because it was the first time that they were going to experiment the SRI principles. In 2015, we got that providing agrochemicals, so we came only with rice seeds, technical assistance, laser leveling, and fertilizers. And as you can see, in 2015, we came. Oh my God. We just came with rice seeds and technical assistance. So in other words, we were trying to cause at positive effects and trying to convince the farmer to get more input from them and not just giving all that all the agrochemicals and seeds that were required to produce rice. It's in fact, in this table, you're going to see that we came that, the first year I presented this slide before, and so just I want to deliver the message that in 2014, just we work in a village, but we were able to expand in 2015 and 16. The SRI fields because of the success that we got. And we were able to have, weather information from at closest weather station, where we were taking hourly temperature, and you can see the trends for that 2014, 15, and 16. I'm not going to go too deep. In fact, except for that, the trends of the temperatures, that maximum and minimum were very close, a little bit different in 2015. However, let's say it's generally speaking, more or less was, the same behavior from April up to October of the third year. We also were able to record the relative humidity and wind speed, no big change along the year. And probably the most important here is to say that no rainfall during the three consecutive growing season. So we depend completely from that irrigation. We got varieties. How we can see, we're going to see that that the SRI using the SACA 104 and the SACA 106 were a little more productive during the 3 years. And SACA 106 was also higher than the SACA 104. But you are going to see its difference, visible difference when we use that SACA 104 and 106 compared to the conventional at GISA 177. If we make an average of that for the 3 years, we're going to see that the conventional GISA produce an average of 3.5 tons per fedan, compared to that more than 4 and 5 for that SACA 106 and 104 respectively. And if we compare the rice yield between that SRI and conventional methods, we're going to see the difference during the 3 years. The trend is remarkable high with that when we apply the SRI, compared to that conventional system. It's just, I'm not going to go to the water management because this could be just part of another session, but just I want to tell you that how we irrigate our fields. We were based in at 2 system pumps that sometimes once was enough to water the whole area, sometimes not. probably, I mean, these two pumps were irrigated what is called locally a mezcla. A mezcla is at a group of fields that are neighboring, that are watering by the same pumps. Sometimes, depending on the available amount of water at the canal, I mean, sometimes one pump is enough, sometimes another. Basically, I mean, the conventional irrigation system was rotational. It seems that this system forces the farmer to irrigate available, and that's the reason why sometimes the crop was under irrigated and other times is over irrigated. We were able to, with our weather data, I mean, we were able to estimate that the raised water consumption, and also to compare to another crops like cotton and maize that usually are planted after the rice. And you can see the difference in the water consumption. By a huge amount, the rice consumes more water than the other crops, and this is really a problem, because usually the trend here in Egypt was to increase every year that the land planted with rice, and the government, I mean, facing problems of water scarcity and water quality, start to release some decrees and identify some specific areas where the rice could be raised. You can see here part of our fields. Since I mean, what happened during that at the end. So when we combined that, can I? Can you hear me?
It's very slowly.
Okay. Well,
yeah. Okay. Now
I'm going to go ahead. I mean, with that weather data coming from that weather station, we were able to estimate that reference EP, and then also that the rice evapotranspiration. These give us information, daily information regarding the water consumed by the rice, that we were able to put this in a figure to show monthly behavior of water needs and also the accumulated. At the end, we more or less estimated at I mean, the water need by the rice is around 840 millimeters for the whole season. And at that, how to more or less we follow the results, because we were able to have, I mean, to measure the volume of water applied. I mean, following very basic methods, just taking the time of that the pump is working, and just to note how much water is releasing the pump, and also we collected, I mean, data. So we came with two sort of data to see if it's the information coming from from irrigation was more or less reliable. At the end, when we work with that concept of water apply with that consumption of the rice, we came that we found that more or less the irrigation efficiency by both methods is more or less similar. 55 for that estimated irrigation efficiency for the SRI, while the conventional system was at 54. You can see that at the table at the bottom. And when also we combine this, but the most important thing is that when we combined how much water we applied with that SRI and the conventional system, and with, I mean, play a little bit with the yield of rice, per unit, we're going to see that our rice productivity with the SRI was around 0.66 kilograms of rice per 1,000 of liters applied water, while the conventional was only 0.54 kilograms per cubic meter of water applied. I'm going to stop a little bit here to show, to allow Ms. Sabah talking a little bit about the social aspect, the economical and social aspect regarding the SRI, and then after her, I'm going to come back just to draw the conclusions and some lessons learned that coming from that SRI experience. Go ahead, please, Mrs. Hello? Okay, go ahead.
Hello?
Just mine if you want.
No,
okay. Okay.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for giving us this chance to share our experience.
I cannot see you. Can you make a sign if you are following us, Ms. Sabah?
I'm here. Okay, everybody is hearing me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so as you introduced the social aspects, it's very important with farmers in using and applying SRI in the community. And the focal point is always dialogue and consultation meeting with the farmers all the time, and listen to them carefully and know exactly what they are doing now and what we are doing in the future, and observe and discuss the different benefits and so on. From this point, we moved in a very big meetings with the farmers, and we started with the natural leaders who have large area of cultivating rice, and we asked them to just test the experiments and the elements of SRI to make sure that they will succeed and elect in a participatory approach, the slogan of more rice, less water, to make sure that they will benefit at the end of the season. Can you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We have some points to observe. What's the difference in attitudes and the behaviors of the farmers before and after SRI? And as you know, cultivating rice, it's like a festival for all the Egyptian farmers, and they are working together in some points, specifically in starting the cultivating itself from the nursery stage from the seeds they used to do, like Saha 177, and they didn't interested with their neighbors what they are using from the seeds and so on. After using the SRI, people are asking themselves, is it okay? Is seeds okay? Is it go well with you last season to continue in the next one? From the exchange of experience among the farmers, we increase the area of applying and piloting. And also we come up with clever farmers and used them in a public seminars and public knowledge and the gathering of the farmers to make sure that they are believing on themselves. Because the farmer, if he listens from his neighbor or from his relative, some information about applying the experiments, he will be so confident that if he is applied in his land, he will succeed like him and so on. And as you know, in traditional of Egypt, people are looking for each try to make the same if they see succeed, and if they see any benefits for the others, they would like also to add this for themselves.
Yes.
Please continue.
Anyway, actually, we are used also a lot of publications and flyers for the farmers to see some photos, to see some experiments from others who are using SRI around the world and also in different fields in Egypt. And we make many meetings and interviews with the farmers at the beginning of the season, and we also meet them on the field days of the nursery preparation, field days on transplanting, and also a field day in the middle of the season to make sure that they are applying all the instructions from the technical expert of SRI when the season is growing and so on. And at the end of the season, we are celebrating together in a very public meeting in each village with the harvesting and make the rice festival together to present all the results of the yield production and the water usage as well.
I made a change. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Also, we made some media interviews with some media channels here in Egypt, and many interface with the newspapers and the programs and so on to make sure for the farmers that their neighbors and to their colleagues, farmers around Egypt in different governorates in upper and in delta areas. Okay, we are also using all these publications in awareness session invited by the official people and with the community members, and we encourage women to have some rules to attend this awareness session to help and support her husbands, her fathers, also in expanding these experiments and expanding the knowledge of using the new seeds and so on, and the elements of SRI specifically. Especially some and women are working in different fields in each village. So they will move the knowledge from the locations and areas we are applying these experiments to a new area in some villages and the governments. Check.
Yes, it's coming. Last little bit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. We went to the people in their homes and in their fields, and they tried to open a dialogue with them, practice as they talking, as they sit with them on ground, talking with the same language that we are proud with what they are doing, and we are all learn from each other. We are also move their success to other farmers around the governorates, and by using the natural leader of the village like Umda, Sheikh al-Balad, and the big farmers in the area to explain themselves what they did in the last season and then moved to the others. We started in 2014, and the people by themselves made the trial many times and expanded the experiment area from small areas to large area in the land with any interventions or any supply from our side year by year. Finally, I would like to say, if you live with the people, understand the culture, understand their attitudes, convince them with the language, participating them by their own to express their success. This is the key word of community mobilization, and how to use the social aspects to make success in the technical aspects. And now I leave the recommendation and the finding of our experience to Dr. Arnulfo again, and your questions are always welcome at the end of the session. Thank you.
Well, thanks. I need to go back and to come with the conclusion and some remarks. As a final, I mean, really the time is short to talk in detail about the different aspects. I mean, probably each specialist has had, I mean, an individual presentation regarding the SRI. But I would like to come with that, the most important conclusion that we could find. Italy, the SRI shows potential, I mean, against the conventional methods. And part of this potential is based on the use of seaward seedlings. So we are using less, I mean, less amount of rice seeds. And also, I mean, we have the chance to produce more with the less irrigation system. However, if we organized in a better way that how the mezcla is watered, so we have a chance also to reduce that the water applied, because we were able to produce more rice, but I mean, exploiting the potential of the rice variety more than the reducing the water applied to the fields. Also, I mean, we were to find very interesting socioeconomic advantage compared to the, I mean, to the conventional system that were confirmed by the same farmers and by the same leaders of that small village. I think that our very diplomatics, I mean, to to promote that the SRI were the same farmers, because we found that different people from other sites, neighboring lands, came to look for the principles and how to do this. In fact, the result that we got served that the government to release a decree in 2017 when the water scarcity comes, to identify which areas could be allowed to grow rice during the last growing season of 2017, because the land planted with rice was reduced by 8 to 10%. It's based on the promotional of the SRI conditions. However, part of the recommendation that we found, as we take a look to the labor use of during the SRI, we're going to see that the harvesting, takes the more, transplanting and the harvesting take the most hand labor for the rice, and consequently, this reflected when we go to the labor cost of the rice straw. We could, prepare bales, using a special machine for that. In fact, that's what's part of our stronger activity that was expecting from that project. However, in fact, at the beginning was just, planned to be conducted during the years of 2014 and 2015, but because of the success, we were able to come with an extra year in 2016. In fact, we were able to get additional funds to make the third growing season with SRI. So what are going to be what were the policy implications from the project regarding the SRI? It was requires a more intensive jointly effort from the Minister of Water Resources with the Minister of Agriculture, to promote and to share the positive effect of applying SRI. Also, we need to look for alternatives to make less heavy the hand labor when we are going to the rice cultivation. It's when we have a chance to look at the climate change aspect. Also, trying to use the machine for the baler machine is a good option instead of to burn the residues of rice, of straw at the end of that growing season. I think more or less we are, hopefully we are on time, and just to offer our kind greetings for allowing us to share this presentation with you. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Meza and Ms. Sabah, for providing a very excellent presentation on the SRI experiences. And definitely this is something which is an eye-opener for the productivity and the adaptation measures required for promoting this technology. I would now open the session for...
Got one question which has been flashed to Arnulfo.
Okay. So the question has already been flashed to the presenters, so maybe we can have the answer for the question.
Can you see the question, Dr. Gonzalez, on the screen?
In the chat or
In the chat.
In the chat box. There is one question.
No, I
The
can.
question? Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can read this.
Yeah, I mean, the question is, I can see the water applied are too close for the two system by one Mr. Raham.
Yes, yes, you are perfectly right. In fact, I mean, that's correct. And in fact, is that still by the beginning it was very difficult. I mean, to select a water management. So that's the reason why. I mean, the water apply was very close with both system, because at the end we cannot control. I mean, the water applied by the system. I mean, we came. I mean, to try to implement. I mean, watering, following up that weather. The weather and the soil conditions, and also the crop stage. However, because of the rotational system, it was very difficult to control. In fact, we intended, but our results were are not reliable. The reason why, I mean, we came with general results, and definitely we agree that I mean, the water applied in both systems was the same. However, the water productivity, I mean, reached with that SRI system, because of more rice production, was higher than with the conventional system. This aspect of, I mean, follow up carefully that how much water applied was one of our main concerns, that at the end we could not figure out I mean, in a reliable way.
Yeah, thank you.
Just a general observation, Dr. Gonzalez. This SRI is not really new. It's there for a long time, but it has still not been caught up with the farmers. What may be the reasons? It's not popular yet.
And I couldn't hear you. Will you please repeat the question for us?
This SRI is not really a new. It has been there for quite some time, but farmers are still not taking up around the world. What may be the reasons?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so you know, it's Egyptian farmers, particularly at the Delta, are so tied to the traditions. And one of the tradition is to keep the seed, as Sabah mentioned. One of the main reasons, I mean, how the conventional system works, and they keep seeds from the past season for the next growing season, and these lose a lot of I mean, potential in the yield. Also, part of the aspect is that they are using a lot of, I mean, the competition among plants at the beginning of the transplanting, when you're putting more seedlings, is very important. I mean, also that over irrigations, or even on the irrigation, sometimes such system makes difficult, I mean, to follow up that. In this case, we're trying to follow up with them a system more or less it's reliable, that they were a benefit of SI. But I agree with you that the SRI is not new. Yeah.
Thank you.
I also had some addition on that, that the farmer using SRI to use labor for transplanting on a regular distance need too much labor, and this is much cost for the farmer than using the normal and traditional ways here.
Thank you.
We got one.
We have one more question.
Mohammed Faisal, can you hear me? Mohammed Faisal. Mohammed Faisal, please continue with your question.
Are you in?
Yes, but
Mohammed
the
Faisal,
audio
please
has
ask the
been
question.
lost.
Our connection has been lost.
Do you hear me or do you hear me?
We have at
Dr. Sabah.
we have a lost connection here.
No problem, we can hear you.
No, we can hear you. We are trying.
Now the audio is back again. Yeah.
هو قال لك إن هو سمع هقول السؤال.
We cannot hear.
No. Okay. Do you hear us or?
No, we can hear you. Just hold on.
Yeah.
Okay.
So go
Rehan,
ahead, please.
no, self-muted. It's okay. We can stop.
Actually, I have just
Yes.
experience from India
Yes. Please go ahead.
about SRI in one of the project.
It seems that
SRI, are you able to hear?
no, I can. We can hear you clearly. We can follow you. We have some connection problems here. Yeah.
That in one of the project when we adopted SRI, then yield as compared to conventional irrigation or conventional cropping for rice paddy, it was almost double. That I want to share. But with the less water, water was almost 30% less consumed, and but labor is labor intensive because of weeding and other things. A lot of labor is required. So that is our observation when this was used as a one of the project under ADB funded project. So that's just sharing the experience that yes, yield increases almost double as compared to the conventional system.
But I'm sorry, but we cannot hear completely your part. I mean, your comments. I really cannot say anything.
The experience in India suggested
Oh.
that SRI doubles the yield. So we support your idea of SRI. Could you hear that?
I just heard that in India also applying SRI and the productivity it's also like a double of the normal and traditional way. Is it okay?
Yes.
Yes.
So we support
Yes.
your study.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So I think we had a good session of questions and answers, and we had very good presentation and interactions from all over the participants, and we now conclude this seminar. I sincerely thank Dr. Arnulfo Gonzalez-Meza and Ms. Sabah for presenting a very valuable information and seminar. And I also thank all the participants who took up this issue and participated wholeheartedly. So we thank all.
Next one, 11 July.
We would like to announce that the next one webinar will be on 11th July.
Water use efficiency.
On water use efficiency.
From Afghanistan.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Gonzalez. Thank you, Sabah.
My pleasure to be with you.
Have a good
Thank
day.
you.
Thank you. Thank you.